Hello, everyone. I'm Mark Heinlein with the National Tile Contractors Association, and you are live from the Coverings Lounge at the Orange County Convention Center. I had to think of where I was for just a second. And you are here with the NTCA Artisans, the Coverings Artisans, and we are going to meet our artisans in just a moment. And you are going to learn today about the artisan process. Thank you for being here. We have a live studio audience here at the Coverings Convention Center, and we also have our artisans live with us from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Everybody, meet the artisans. Lee, Joshua, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
We can hear you. We can hear you. Good morning. How are things in Milwaukee?
They cooled down about 20 degrees last night, so it's fantastic. We can wear our long sleeve shirts today.
That's great. I have one of those shirts on today as well. They're terrific. And everybody, just so you know, these are the shirts they're talking about right here. We'll talk more about those later. Let's get started with what we're going to talk about, and let's meet our artisans. Joshua, can we start with you? Can you tell us who you are, what your business is, and how you're involved with the NTCA and our artisan process?
Sure. Well, I'm Joshua Nordstrom. My business is Tierra Tile LLC. I'm in Homer, Alaska. I joined the NTCA in 2019. I was brought down to Coverings as a guest speaker for a piece that I made, and then I joined the NTCA when I was down there, and it's been an awesome ride ever since. And my goal when I got down there was I wanted to be a CTI. So within a year, I flew out. I went down to Fresno, I believe, and I got my CTI. And so I've got that. And then Lee and I have been working together for like the past 2 years. We got together. Yeah. You know, we started this piece here for Coverings 2020, which kind of, you know, the rug got pulled out from under our feet and from under the world's feet, really. And so we never really got to properly display it at the show. So that kind of led us to Coverings 2021, and here we are, and in Wisconsin instead of Orlando. Yeah. And there's some reasoning behind that, which we'll get into in a little while. But yeah, I've been a tile contractor for. I've been living in Homer for 18 years, and that's when I first got my contractor's license. I was doing tile for a couple of years prior to that, so I've got maybe 20 years under my belt. Yeah, the last 2 years being a member of the NTCA has really skyrocketed my career, if that's you want to call it. It's really been a great thing.
Well, thank you, Joshua. That's a great description of yourself and all of the amazing things that you do. And everybody that's watching this, you're going to get to know Joshua much better. We have 7 programs coming up over the course of the show here, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Check our schedule. You're going to become very familiar with Joshua. So if you have any questions for him, start thinking about those, and you will be able to interact with Joshua, and you will also be able to interact with Lee Callowart. Hi, Lee. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, Mark. Sure. I'm Lee Callowart, the Dragonfly Tile and Stoneworks here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I've been a tile setter for 37 years. Dragonfly has been in business for 21 years. We specialize in custom tile and stone work, artistic, not all mosaic work, but even when it's not, it's still an artistic installation. That's just what we're known for. We're here today, and we've been doing this for educational purposes more than anything. Just trying to spread the word on showing people that they can do these things. and there is a market for these things. It's been kind of the theme over the last couple of years, is to just help people that think, oh, I can't do that. There's no market for it in my region. There's no, nobody's going to want that. That's crazy. Well, we're here to tell you there are people out there that they want this type of work. They just don't know it exists. They don't even know where to start. So for everybody in every region of this country, it's really up to you. If you really want to do this, it's up to you to bring it to their attention. So that's kind of the purpose, and to show people the methods, process, tricks. There's a lot of those.
I'd say secrets, but we don't keep secrets. We like to share them.
For sure, 100%. That's what it's all about. If we find a better way, if we find something that works or doesn't work, yeah, we'll save you from that. You know, once again, you can skip over some of those things just by us sharing what we've learned. So that's kind of the premise of all of these programs.
Yeah, we've been working together with the NTCA on a monthly roundtable, which has been really great. I think it's really benefited the tile community. We get a lot of people that come in. It's been, I don't know, there's been 30 to 50 people easily on every roundtable, it seems like, sometimes more. You know, we try to keep it, you know, we try to talk about something different every time. So if you haven't found the NTCA roundtables, you should search that. Maybe Mark, you got a link for that we could share with people, but you know, that's been a great thing for educating other installers, and it's been really fun to be part of that and to be part of it from the very beginning. And you know, we Lee and I both together, we both see it going in big places. You know, the more people that push themselves and step out of the box and attempt the artwork, it just raises the bar for the whole industry. So we think it's a great thing. You know, start small and work your way up, just like anything. You know, we've talked about that on the roundtable before. You know, we started this, our 2020 piece here was intended to be for the beginning, you know, introductory. You know, we kept all of our lines real straight. You know, the piece that we're going to be getting into for the Orlando show that we're going to be talking about is kind of the next step, the next level of detail. So yeah, we originally went into it thinking of an introductory, hoping that it would go to year 2, which here we're at year 2, and we're just excited to share what we've come up with and the whole process. So I don't know if you want to start talking about the process, Mark, or.
I'd like to recap on a couple of things that you guys said, and then we'll get into that. And for our audience, I want to recap a couple of very important things that Lee and Joshua said. And we have more people coming in here. Come on in, grab a seat. We are live with the NTCA Artisans in Tile here at Coverings, and we're in the Coverings Lounge. And our artisans are together in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, coming to us live. And they are at Dragonfly Studios. We have Lee Callowart and Joshua Nordstrom. They're the people sitting before you, and we have 7 sessions with them this week. And what I would like to recap on what they said, both Lee and Joshua have said this, that they got into this artisan process with the NTCA so that anybody in the tile industry can learn how to tap into, as Lee puts it, your inner artist. We all have that, whether we know it or not. And these 2 gentlemen are terrific at explaining to us how to tap into our inner artist and become someone, expand on ourselves some way that we don't even yet know exists. And in doing that, we create a new passion in ourselves and, for business-wise, a new revenue stream. We're going to be talking about that through the course of this week, and we're also going to be talking about the artwork that they're creating and their processes, how they create the artwork, design the artwork, come up with their ideas, their techniques for producing these incredible artworks, and that's what we will be covering. So check our schedule, come back every one of our episodes. You'll love this. You need to be all the way through. So let's get into that 2020 piece that's behind you guys. Can you talk a little bit more about what that piece is and how you developed it and how it got built, but not at the show in New Orleans?
Yes, but before we do that, let's. We really want to introduce the entire NTCA Artisan team. It's much larger than these two people right here. It always is, isn't it? There's always a lot of people behind the scenes that make these things work. So there is Jane Calvert, my wife. Jane?
Can we bring these people on camera? Yes, we'd love to meet everybody.
She in here?
Jane is, as Angie Ray has called her, she is the thin set. She keeps everything together.
She's highly modified.
Yeah, highly modified. And we need it. Trust me. We're good at what we do, but in business, it's always good to have a strong partner to keep everything rolling. So Jane, do you have anything you would like to add?
Just thanking very much again, as they have already said, to NTCA for the opportunity to take this, I think, very important movement forward in a good nod to the history of artisanship in tile. I mean, that's where tile came from. And I think to be able to continue to support that and the support that we've had from NTCA has just been phenomenal. So thank you.
Next, we have Maria Meyer. She is an apprentice at Dragonfly Tile and Stoneworks, and she has been involved in pretty much every aspect of what we are doing here. She has gotten to a point where she's designing and creating her own mosaic pieces, so it's exciting to see her growth. And she's learned a lot, not only from me, but from Joshua, other people on the guild, a special guest we have here in the house today, she's learned from. So she's a perfect example of how this works. So we thank you, Maria, for all that you do. You're here all the time, whatever we need, so.
It's not too hard.
You want to add anything?
You finished something up that I was gonna say. I can bring on the next guest who definitely I've learned a lot from fields that I don't know a lot about and that we don't really do too much. We do our natural stone. Wanna come join us, Seth?
Our guest helper, Seth Reddy.
Hi, Seth.
Hey, how's it going, Mark?
It's going great. Tell us about yourself.
My name's Seth Reddy, and I'm an artist and a tile setter, and I'm just honored to be here. It's a privilege to be amongst Lee and Josh, and I'm just trying to soak up all the knowledge I can, and it's just a pleasure. So thanks for having me, guys.
We're glad that you made the trip.
Hell yeah.
And then there's our graphic designer, Shay Calvert. He's the one responsible for these shirts, last year's covering shirts, and many others. Also responsible for that crazy red piece up thing behind Mark, where he takes our artwork and transforms it into that usable template.
Which I'd like to add is a huge time saver. In the past, and we're gonna get into the process here in a little bit, but in the past we would have to template all those individually, with tracing paper and or I call it Lee's Magic paper. But everybody's got their different ways of templating, and with this vinyl, it really speeds up the process. I'd say it probably cuts it 40% of the time on a mosaic off. So that just allows you to do more mosaics. It's pretty awesome.
Is there anything you want to add, Shay?
No, other than it's been great to be part of the process, and I've learned a lot from doing these templates. It's transferred a lot of power, so it's great.
And you've been able to even do some hands-on work, so without all of these people, and my other son Chase Calloward is here today, and he is helping. He's applying the coverings Artisan logo to the hood of my truck just for coverings. And he also cuts out the templates, does the how you call weeding, pulls out all the negative space between the actual pieces. So just, I guess this might put it in perspective. This is what it really takes to make these things happen.
We're missing one person, Lee.
I know, and he's not here today
He's got a microphone in his hand,
because he's a
and
little
he's
busy.
standing on the stage in front of all you. But Mark came on a week-long work vacation back in April, and he's just as much a part of this team as everybody else here.
Right on.
We put him to work. He was an amazing help. We couldn't have done it without him, and he's just as much part of this team as all of us. So Mark, you deserve the credit too.
I can't tell you guys what an incredible honor it is to always work with you, and thank you for introducing the whole team. And it does take a team, and it does take all of the networking. Jane and Maria and Shane and Shay and everybody, we are just thrilled to have you here with us today. And our studio audience, guys, I don't know if you can see our audience here, but they are tuning into every word that you say now and everything that you're going to tell us. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Don't be sneaking off.
It's not lunchtime.
Yeah, get back to work. Get them back behind the scenes.
Yes.
So before we introduced everybody, Mark asked us about this piece. This here, if anybody doesn't know, is the New Orleans skyline, looking across the Mississippi River at one of their stern wheelers. So this was our intent for the New Orleans show, and like I said, it was an introductory thing. So we were trying to think of, well, what's New Orleans oriented? We were going round and round with that. You think of music, brass instruments, great food, all that. And what we came up with was we both decided on, the skyline, because it's iconic down there. So this is what we made for that show. I flew in, I don't even remember now, it's been so long, two years ago. I flew in, I came in for 3 days, 4 nights, and we did 3 long, hard days in the shop here. And the goal was for me to leave and go back to Alaska with a template identical to a template for Lee. So what we did is we split this piece. We cut all the sun when I was here, but we split this piece right down the middle. I took this half home. He left this half here, and he created this half. I created this half in Alaska. I brought tile back with me. I actually carried tile on the plane as my carry-on because my bag was overloaded. So I was walking through the airport with one 12 by 24 inch piece of this polished black porcelain here. And I made my piece, he made his piece. I sent it here, and Lee seamlessly put them together. So here's the original pattern for this piece, as you can see. So how many of these did we make? We made 3?
Yeah.
We made 3. So I left with 1, he got 1, and then we had a master. So I mentioned that we cut it in half. This was our line right here. Oops, right down the middle here. So this was my half and this was his half. There's a lot of details that we had to work out. Working on the same piece. What I live 4,000 miles away from him. So there was a lot of details that we had to figure. And for this piece that we're working on for the Coverings 21, it's a bit more elaborate than this. So we decided that it probably wasn't going to work the same that way. So I came in April and I was here for a week. Mark drove in and there again, I mean, what did we work? Just 5 days straight on it.
Yep.
And we got as much done as we possibly could to get it to the point where we can show it off to you guys over the next 3 days. So, you know, the piece that we came up with for the Coverings 21 show down in Orlando, we wanted to have something Orlando themed. So we're just going round and round and round, you know, are we going to do flamingos or are we going to do, you know, a skyline? Are we going to do, what are we going to do? I saw an image come through online of an alligator and I took a snapshot and I sent it to Lee as a haha, we should do this. Totally not intending for it to be the piece. And as time progressed, we just both really liked the idea of an alligator and we just decided on it. So that's how we came about with the design that we decided. We changed it a bit. We made it bigger. As bigger is better, right?
Well, and altering altering it over and over to make the pieces. One thing about the process of designing or taking an image or however you do it is each piece should be pleasing. So you may redraw and redraw and redraw a certain organic section because every piece should be treated as its own. And that's what takes a little bit of time sometimes in getting the final drawing. That's why we're so excited about the templating process that Joshua and I use now. Is once we're done with the drawing, our next step today is fabrication. Once we've presented a drawing to Shay, we get to go directly into fabrication.
Yeah, versus the whole templating process, which, like I said, is 40, probably 50% of your time. Half the time of creating one of these mosaics typically is templating. So yeah, it's just a great way to go about it. So yeah, so I guess the first part is the design, which you work with the client on, which typically, you know, for me, if a client comes to me and says they want a New Orleans skyline piece, I would drop a few renditions and then present it to my client. And then my client would pick what they like and don't like out of the pieces, or just say, I like this one, let's go with this one. So then that gives us a chance to kind of mix things together and gives them a chance to help with the design process. And
I
then
think that's a luxury that you and I have, you know, having that
the direct contact
relationship.
Yep, with the customer, which is huge. It's key. It builds trust in the whole thing, because it's really hard for the client to see the end result. And Lee and I were talking about this morning. You know, we both can visualize it from the very beginning, and that really helps. So you know, it's design, and then it goes into, once you get your design from me, traditionally I would blow everything up with an overhead projector and trace it out, you know, and make templates off of that. But then we can skip that whole process and do the vinyl templating. And then, you know, once you've got your templates, it's about choosing all the colors and textures you want and sizes. You got to think about that too, with, you know, different thicknesses and whatnot in your tile.
Yeah.
But you know, choosing your materials, and once you have all your materials chosen, then it's go time. It's just a matter of you know, tracing your templates if you're doing it the old-fashioned way, or sticking your templates on your tile and just cutting. And then once everything's cut, you know, we like to smooth the edge with a glass grinder. We call them shapers, just to finish the edge up a little bit. and then we dry fit everything and make sure everything lays the way we want. And you know, that's your chance to actually take, and you can manipulate your grout lines then. You know, if you're going for an even 1/8 inch grout line all the way around, then that's your time that you can make sure that you're going to have an 1/8 inch grout line all the way around. So then it's dry laid, and then we face tape everything. And then once it's face taped, then we go into our pre-mounting process. So, you know, I don't know if we want to walk around and kind of.
I think we should, the
Explain
choice
that
of
a little more.
materials, you know, after the design has been approved, then it's nailing down the materials, right? All your colors. It's kind of the next step for me.
Mhm.
I'm sure it is for you. And then not only finding the right colors, but making sure that that material can handle the fabrication that you're requesting of it.
Yeah.
Which
That's huge. You got to think about the sizes and shapes you're cutting it. That material.
Yeah. Somebody gonna teach us how to do that someday?
Well, you know, I mean, what'd you say? You got 35 years into it and you're still learning?
Yeah.
I'm
But if
guilty of
it's
that.
You know, like you said before too, if it's the color you want,
You got to make it work.
you know, there's many things we used in this project that,
Well, for example, bring that over here and let's
Yeah.
talk about that color. We had to use that color.
right, it doesn't come. There's another color we wanted to use. It doesn't come this. You can get it, but
Which is labradorite.
But however, we had somebody who was willing to donate a slab of this. So
This is something that Mark did when he was here,
yeah,
right?
Mark
He was the
and,
miller,
yeah, he took this 2 cm.
and Maria.
Actually, this is 3 cm. So he took this 3 cm slab,
Cut it into strips.
cut it into these blocks, and then took it on the wet saw and milled it so that we would have a piece of tile the same thickness as the rest of our material. So now we have the material we wanted at the correct thickness, but it took quite a process to get it to that.
Just that extra step.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to take that extra step.
Well,
And guys, let me just interrupt for a second. I've got the pieces you sent. So for our audience, I'm showing those particular pieces here. We'll have these up on the table. You can come and check these out. And you can see the different thicknesses that they started working with. The selection process that they're talking to you about, the materials process, the availability of these materials, it's quite an enormous process once they've come up with a design, and they'll talk about this more, right, guys? But the materials are all up here. We have some of the real samples that they're showing you there. And when we go offline, you can come up and see these and handle them, and we'll discuss them some more. Go ahead, Joshua.
So we really wanted to find the right color for our water. And I stumbled across this. We were going round and round with what we want to do. Did we want it blue? Did we want to change the color? I came across this. This is a large format tile, thin panel. As you can see, it's thinner than the rest of our tile. This came in a sheet. Well, I guess it's as wide as it is tall here. So that was the width, and it was 8 feet long. So we got 2 of these, and that's a huge, long story. We got 2 of them.
It sure is.
Yeah. We don't have enough time in all these segments to tell the story. But we ended up finding these. They came out of Florida. So they were shipped up from Florida and shipped here. We had 2 pieces shipped here, and what we did is we milled them down, or Mark milled them down, and these are Maria. These are the size tiles. So we made subway tiles out of them, and high graded. They took out all the browns as much as they could, and we tried to utilize all the greens and blues. And then it was a matter of trying to shade that in the actual piece to try to, for the color placement. Do we want the blues on the bottom? Do we want the greens on the top? Or what, how are we going to do that? So, here we couldn't find a factory tile, so we had to mill them ourselves. And sometimes you just got to take that extra step.
Can I interject on that, Joshua?
Sure.
So what they're describing, those were gauged porcelain panels. They were approximately 4 feet by 10 feet in size. And we got 2 of them shipped from Miami to Milwaukee on an A-frame. They were received and unloaded. And then those 2 artisans there, Joshua and Lee, gave instructions to Maria and Mark to cut out the best particular greens and colors and divide them up and go through that whole panel. So that panel was turned into many small pieces based on the instructions that the artisans gave us. Did I get that right, Joshua?
You nailed it. Yes. So, not only, they were all milled, and then, like I said, they all went through the shaper. You guys softened the edge of them all. So there was a whole fabrication process of just coming up with one shade of tile for the piece.
That's two components now of this piece that had to be manipulated prior to us moving forward, doing anything else with it. They had to go through a process. Another material we wanted was white onyx. Well, the white onyx tiles we could get were just not what we were looking for. Once again, we were able to obtain a small 2 cm slab of it. So we did what we had to make this work for our project. And as you'll see down the road here, the fact that it's 2 cm we didn't have to mill this one, and the cutting of it isn't, because this particular slab that we had was not inherently filled with fractures and fissures and veining. It was pretty solid, so we had pretty good luck using this one for our fabrication. That's three materials now. Mm-hmm.
Lee, I want to add to everybody what he just said, the fractures and fissures and veining. What you're starting to understand is these artisans really understand and know their materials. They know the porcelain tiles, they know their ceramic tiles, and they know their stone and glass tiles. And not just the stone tiles, but the stone slabs and the various types of stones. So they were very particular where the tile would be used and knew they were going to mill it into certain size shapes and pieces. So they were able to use those cracks and fissures and veining, or they were able to avoid those to make sure that the piece had structural integrity. Did I get that right, Lee?
Yes, Mark. Exactly. Right on.
So, yeah, this piece, bring it over.
Yeah, because it's kind of complicated.
Mm-hmm. This piece, typically when you're doing, any tile, you want it as flat as possible. This is a wall hanging piece that we're making, and we want some relief. It's to add that extra dimension. So, some of these materials, like we said, they're different thicknesses, and we're using that, taking advantage of that. And we're playing with the thickness of the materials to give a little bit of relief to the actual piece, just to give it that little more real life look. So, there's ways to go about that. You can pre-mount your stuff if you need to achieve the same height, but, which we've done on this piece on certain pieces, portions of it. But at the same time, we're utilizing the different thicknesses of the material to help the piece. So Lee's going to show you here, so this is all the same color stone. I don't know if you can zoom in on that. Kind of twist it. So this is the cafe, correct?
Yes.
So this is cafe. This is green granite cafe, and you can see all the different colors. And
there was many more than this. We used the best.
Yeah, this is the remnants. Right. So these are the ones that didn't make the cut. But we took advantage of the shading. That's really important to help put another element of life in the piece. So when we get into tomorrow when we're installing, you'll be able to see the cut pieces. And when it all starts to come together, you'll really see how taking the time to really shade and shadow your pieces really, it's really beneficial to really pull off that effect in the end of a realism. So yeah, this stuff went from almost a black to some of it was really yellow, which the yellow was actually there was one that had a lot of yellow in it that that there was a piece of the alligator that was really calling for it. So shading, with natural stone, porcelain, most of the time your porcelain's one color. So you're shading with different pieces of mosaic, with the porcelain. With the stone, it's all different colors. So you might need to hold your pattern. You need to, there was a lot of times that we had to walk up to the pattern here, which is behind me, and see which way the pattern was, so we know which way to put the pattern on the piece if we wanted, one side of it to be dark and one side of it to be light. So instead of just putting it up there because it fits on this piece, you take that extra time for the shadowing, and it just really makes the piece pop.
Yeah, I think it's
And
important.
Joshua, you just said that those pieces that you have there, and I have one here that you sent down, I'm holding up, that those were rejects. And they're not rejects because they were bad stones, but they were
Yeah.
rejected because they didn't work into your pattern. The veining didn't fit with the project you were producing.
Yeah, well, and it might not have been didn't have the right color in it that we were looking for. So we started off with a full 10 square foot box of that, right? And we've got 2 square feet left with a couple shards.
I think we actually did.
Was there more?
But I think that's, most of the time when people are looking for stone, what are they looking for? The number one thing, consistency. They want a shade variation of 0, because they don't understand stone. But with what we were doing, we were actually looking for the opposite. So there's a certain cohesiveness to the piece using the lights and darks, but out of the same material. So, when selecting materials for a job, it's something to keep in mind, because it might not be what you would normally think you're looking for. Because most of the time we're looking for consistency. In this particular case, and in many cases, it's helpful to have those things that nobody else really thinks that they want.
And for me, like, if I'm tile shopping for a job and I'm just, if I'm looking for subway tile for a job and it's just a standard job and it's not artistic, but I see a tile that's bright color, I got to buy it just because I know that down the road that tile might be hard to find and I'll have it on hand. So I'm always, I don't know about you, but I'm always looking for, it's all about the color and the texture. Well, yeah, I've noticed you got a little.
Are you saying you
strange
have
addiction like that.
you've got a warehouse full of tile sitting around?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Fall warehouse.
It's a strange addiction. We like tile scraps. So yeah, you always got to kind of keep your eye open for just for oddball stuff that that you can use. Like I do a lot of fireweeds up in Alaska, and I came across a fuchsia colored tile, which was a slab tile, and thick, like Lee was explaining there. But they actually had samples of it, 4x4 samples in a 3/8 thick tile size, and I got a hold of the rep, and he sent me. I bought as many samples as I could, and I keep those and I use those just for fireweeds. Because
Did you say fireweed?
Yeah, like the fireweed, the fuchsia color of fireweeds when they bloom. That's a really hard color of tile to find. So I found that tile and I bought it up, and I've got it when I need it. So, I see Lee does the same thing. He works with a lot more stone than I do, but he's got every color of stone you can think of just for upcoming projects.
This is tropical granite. That was another stone that we used. So we had a total, and this did come, hallelujah. This one actually came in 3/8 too. So, all we did was cut it to 6x6s, and we utilized.
We shaded that.
Yeah.
Because there's darks and lights in that.
There's little garnets,
Mhm.
specks in it. There's light and dark, and I had 20 feet of it, went through all of it, found the lightest ones, the darkest ones, and used them in appropriate sections of the gator. Once again, using one material for multiple shading areas.
You got to think like when you're making a mosaic, there's a lot of scrap. And the scrap isn't necessarily garbage because you can keep it and use it for another job. But, you know, this piece that we made is 4x6, so it's 24 square feet. We probably started off with 40 square feet of tile, maybe even more than that. You know, sometimes with a project as detailed as we're doing, sometimes you got to have twice as much material as the space allows. So you've got the colors that you can high grade through. So we've got another one here. This one, it was kind of last minute, but Lee's bringing it in here.
Whoa.
And
Well, that doesn't look like anything else you've shown us yet.
no,
Oh, it's the back. The back is pink. The front isn't. Oh, maybe it is.
Oh,
I don't know.
so
is
this
that
is a really cool.
iridescent glass? What is that?
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, it changes color as you walk around it.
So that became another component which Joshua found.
Kind of last minute. We were kind of up in the air on what we wanted to do with the sky. We can go so many different directions with it. And we just figured out, you know, we wanted to kind of make it that twilighty sunset look. So I came across this there again. I was at the tile shop and these were remnants, or they weren't really remnants. I think it was a misorder. So I got 6 pieces of this. So 12 square feet. I saw it. I had to buy it. I wasn't going to walk out the door without it. Originally I got it because you know, I'm from Alaska and I wanted to do an aurora borealis scene. And when I got it home, I was looking at it and I'm like, yeah, I can order it again. I can keep some of the shards, but this I really think needs to be the sky for the piece.
Well, we had 2 backup plans for the sky. 2 different materials. Well, we had honey onyx, and then we also had Calcutta gold marble, because, and this is important. Yeah, great idea, right? This will be an awesome sky. Well, now it has to be cut. We have to cut the image into this, so we have no idea
How it's
that's
going to
going to go. So,
Wait a minute. Have you cut any of that yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that.
Yeah, well,
Our next session is actually we're going to be talking about cutting, and we're going to show you how we the hurdles that we encountered and how we got around them. But which we the same thing with the stone. You know, I mean, there's hurdles that you're presented with, and then there's always a way around them or over them. So we're going to be talking about that in the next segment. Is you know, cutting and shaping.
Yep.
So in the next segment, we've got just a couple of minutes left in this segment, guys. You've shown us all of the materials that you're using in this piece. You talked about how they were selected. You talked about your process of having some on hand, your process of templating and selecting the veining and the shading and the coloring and the milling of the piece. You talked about your design process, how you came up with the idea, and how you put this all into use. So in our next segment now, are you saying that you're going to start showing us how to actually do the physical work where you're at right now?
Yeah, we'll be doing some cutting. We'll cut some stone. We'll cut some porcelain. We'll show you how to keep a line on this porcelain, which was a hurdle that came about with the porcelain because nothing sticks to the stuff. Literally.
That thing was, there's more than one hurdle involved.
Yeah, there's a hurdle with every product.
No, in this particular.
Yeah, well, like I said, that's a long story. That would take all of our sessions to get through it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to talk about all that. We're going to talk about the glass, and we're going to show you how to cut the glass. Talk about the right kind of blades to use, and you know, the ways to go about doing it. So so it looks good, so you don't have a chippy cut.
Yeah.
All right. In the last 30 seconds that we have, I'd like to ask our audience, do you have any questions for the artisans at this point? Anybody? You're going to have an opportunity at our next session to talk to the artisans. We have a microphone that we can give you, so come back in just a few minutes. Check our signboard. We'll be back. We'll have a microphone. You can speak directly to Lee and Joshua and ask them your questions. Lee and Joshua, do you want to wrap this up for now, and we'll see you again pretty soon?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
We'll see you. What's our next?
a little more than an hour from now, I believe, right?
Well, then I guess we'll be seeing you very soon.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Thank you, guys. We'll see you soon. Thank you very much.